Hey everyone, my name is Jose and I'm going to talk with you about something that's been on my mind for a while now. So we all pretty much listen to music, whether that's through the car radio or a home speaker system or through some headphones and earbuds. But what is our goal with listening to this music? What I mean by that is through what do you want to enjoy listening to music? And some of you might say through a home speaker system, and others would say through some headphones. For example, a speaker system creates a physical space of immersion because a speaker system is physically laid out away from you. And if you add more speakers, then you add more direction from where the music is coming from. If you have headphones or earbuds, then the speaker drivers are physically close to you and you don't get that same effect of a wide audio presence around you. I know there are headphones out there that can replicate a surround audio experience, but I'll talk about that later. The real thing is about how do you want to enjoy your music. Now, audio itself in recent decades has been stereo, where you have a left channel and a right channel, and pretty much that's how the most of us consume our audio. So desktop speakers are configured for stereo because it has two physical speakers. And headphones are stereo because it has two drivers, one for your left ear, one for your right ear. And something like a TV has stereo speakers because it has two speakers. So if you wanted a wide presence of audio, you could buy more speakers for your system, or you could get headphones that are meant to give you a wide stage of sound. Okay, so that wraps it up for the portion of how do you want to enjoy your audio. But now I will ask you, in what way do you retrieve this audio? So I'm asking you, do you use streaming services like Spotify, or do you use radio or physical media like CDs and vinyls? But I bet a lot of people use YouTube, and that will be the focus here. Chances are is that the audio format is basic quality, so like 128 or 320 kilobytes per second, which is fine for most people, but other people want high fidelity audio. So high fidelity audio means that the audio has more data. So instead of the basic 128 kilobytes per second you get on every YouTube video, hi-fi audio is standardized at 1411 kilobytes per second, which is 11 times higher. There's more behind hi-fi audio, but I just want to mention that higher quality audio is an aspect of a better audio listening experience. And besides using better audio quality, you could use better equipment like better headphones or speaker systems to go along with making a more enjoyable audio experience. So combining a hi-fi tier song with good headphones that has a big soundstage immerses you with how wide the sound is, and you can hear exactly what direction the audio is coming from, as if you had a full sweep of speakers physically around you. Now that I have the basics done, let's talk about this weird world on YouTube where there are videos that are mimicking a good audio experience that you would get out of hi-fi equipment like good headphones. I'm talking about 8D audio, where you put on some headphones, and I think the goal is to simulate your listening experience as if you were in a real-life concert performance. So 8D audio, which is also called 3D, 9D, 16D, 32D, and there's a bunch of different numbers, but they all mean the same thing. It's supposed to immerse you into the music, but I question if this really is a good listening experience. So we have all heard of 3D, like 3D movies with 3D glasses, and the D in 3D means dimensions. 3D movies is 3D because it has depth to it where we can distinguish how far and close something is in a movie, and 3D audio is more or less about adding depth to the music. The best way for you to experience 8D and 16D and whatever audio is for you to listen to it. So I made my own 8D audio sample for you to try out. You could search it up on YouTube as well, which will be better than my example, and please use headphones for this. And quick shout out to Always Creating for making a video about how to make 8D audio, because I followed their tutorial so that I can make my own 8D audio example. So here we go. Yeah, so a pretty basic example, but at least you have an understanding of what 8D audio sounds like. So basically, most 8D audio songs are about having a voice and instruments pan from one ear to the next so that it sounds like it's moving right in front of you and behind you. The music also sounds distant to give you the illusion that it's coming from a real-life physical space away from you. And the music also has a slight reverb to add depth to the sounds traveling from the source to your ears. Remember how I said 3D movies is about adding depth to your viewing experience? So 8D audio, with its audio panning and distant vocals, is about adding depth to your music experience. I would say that 3D movies and 8D audio add immersion to those experiences. But what's even the point of 8D audio? In my opinion, 8D audio is supposed to make you feel like if you're at a concert through its audio panning. But why? Why would you want to listen to your music this way? I feel like if you came across your favorite song in 8D audio, then it could be a cool auditory trick, but there are channels dedicated to giving 8D songs. I feel like after a while, 8D audio can be fatiguing because your ears will be picking up the constant panning around you, but it seems like people really do like this kind of music. If you look at a channel like 8D Tunes, they have over 7 million subscribers with over 700 million views. So yeah, there is clearly a market from this. Not only from this channel alone, but from the plethora of content you can find about this. I also wonder what the age demographic for these videos are, because I'm quick to assume that children and teens are the ones looking for these videos, because I feel like I'm getting this vibe of cool party trick, bro. But yeah, I do feel like this is indeed a party trick. That isn't to say that it's bad, but how long does a party trick last until it becomes boring? I really don't know, given that more and more 8D and 9D audio keeps coming out. And I find it funny that on some videos it says that, oh, my 32D audio is better than 16D audio. Again, the numbers truthfully don't mean anything. It's just jargon that is supposed to catch your attention. I also think that a majority of people listening to this audio come from maybe cheap audio gear, like cheap headphones and such, where the device has bad specifications and probably tuned to be bad sounding. So I think a lot of these listeners are used to the bad sounding headphones or earbuds, and they don't mind it at all. and probably has really narrow soundstage, but 8D turns their bad headphones into amazing headphones. I mean, think about it. If you had bad headphones where all the videos you watched and all the songs you listened to just sound the same, but with 8D audio and its audio panning, it changes the way you perceive the audio to be. Instead of hearing the audio from just a left and right channel perspective, you can hear the music change direction, that it gives depth to the headphones, which it normally doesn't have any depth or music at all. In theory, this is really cool because you make like $30 headphones sound like $300 headphones as an example, but don't take that too literally. Because if you did have $300 headphones, chances are is that it's open back and tuned greatly so that you do have that natural surround immersion in all the media you consume. For quick reference, an open back headphone means that the ear pads are open, so real sound in your environment can pass through into your ears. Most of us have a closed back headphone, which means that the ear cup blocks out the driver from the environment, and that gives us an isolated hearing experience where we can only pretty much hear the sound coming from the drivers and not the environment. I honestly wonder if I was to let people who frequently listen to 8D music try out some open back headphones, if they would prefer the experience they get with regular music and open back headphones or 8D audio with their existing closed back headphones. My guess is that they would probably prefer the open back because open back headphones are able to project sound as a wide stage without needing 8D audio. It also leads me to say that yes, I bet 8D audio is supposed to imitate the experience you get with open back headphones, albeit 8D audio needs that surround panning so that it sounds more convincing and engaging with your closed back headphones. A good example of this is Imagine Dragons' Believer 8D audio, where it legitimately sounds like an open back headphone and like a live performance. Again, don't forget that 8D audio is still stereo audio because there's only 2 channels for the audio to come out of, but the effect is very convincing because it does sound like you have more speakers around you. Something that actually reminds me of 8D audio is this video here about a virtual barber, and it sounds like a virtual barbershop experience. I'll have the video link down below, but basically, this video is like 8D audio because instead of being simulated at a concert with 8D music, this video is about getting a haircut at a virtual barbershop. And the effect of the hair razor cutting your hair is honestly really cool, and it's amazing that this video was released in 2007. So that means that this trick has been on YouTube since forever. The instructions do say to close your eyes so that the illusion sounds more convincing. And yeah, I bet that people who listen to 8D audio also close their eyes. By closing your eyes, you are imagining where the sound is coming from, and it adds depth and physical presence to this barber video and to 8D audio. It's a really great video. Go listen to that video if you're not already familiar with it, because it's a really awesome example of surround sound by using stereo audio. So 8D, 9D, 16D, and 32D audio is like a gimmick because it's simulating a wide soundstage. But what if I told you that this gimmick has become mainstream? So 8D audio has become mainstream enough that Dolby and Sony have their own spin of immersive spatial sound. So Dolby has Dolby Atmos music, which instead of having the music pan around you, the music is mixed so that the instruments are at a fixed position, but there is still some slight panning around depending on the song. So this example of Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, there is vocals in front of you, there is a guitar strumming on your right ear and some percussion on the left ear, and there are some sounds that move around you. The visualizer also helps you see where the sound is coming from, and it reminds me of the barbershop video where you were supposed to close your eyes and that was supposed to give you visualization of the surround sound through the power of your imagination. And the visualizer is mixed with stereo channels when I open it up with VLC, and it sounds good like a 5.1 channel system. So Dolby Atmos music is similar to 8D audio in the sense of creating a sphere of music around you. So what about Sony's offering? Well, Sony has their own mix of this called Sony 360 Reality Audio, which pretty much works the same way of Dolby Atmos, having more channels surround you with the occasional panning sounds that add to your immersion. I find it weird that both Sony and Dolby say that their surround music technology is meant to bring listeners closer to what the artist intended, which is weird that instead of the traditionally mastered recordings that the artists put on their albums, that instead they really want you to listen to their music on Dolby or Sony 360. That's not true, and it's just part of the marketing, unless the artists themselves said, hey, please listen to my music in this format. I recommend Critical's video about listening to music how the artist intended, because he's going to answer a lot of questions about what artists want their listeners to know about their intentions. But now it's time to test out whether Dolby Atmos music, Sony 360 Reality Audio, and 8D music videos I can find on YouTube is better than the original artist's recording. For this test, I will be using some JBL headphones, the Beats Studio, FiiO FD1, first generation Apple AirPods, and Sony WH-1000 XM4 headphones. I think this is a pretty good list of headphones and in-ears, but I'll also like to note that everything here is just my opinion, and you might actually like Sony 360 over Dolby as an example. I would also like to explain my choice behind each headphone. So with the JBL, that's just supposed to represent a standard pair of headphones. And with the Beats Studio, it's the same intentions as the JBL headphones, just with more bass for those bass heads out there. And the FiiO IEMs is supposed to be a good earbud listening experience. The first generation Apple AirPods is just because it's a really popular audio device. And same thing with the Sony XM4s, as it's a really popular Bluetooth headphones. And also, the Sony headphones are optimized with Sony 360 Reality Audio. The only Bluetooth connections will be the Sony XM4s and the Apple AirPods, and everything else will be passed through my headphone adapter, which is just some regular headphone adapter that you can plug in for your phone. It's not hi-fi tier at all, and it's probably representative of basically every DAC on pretty much every phone. None of this testing is scientific because audio is a complicated science and I don't know how to measure this to you, so I'll just tell you about my experiences instead. Atmos Music and Sony 360 on the JBL barely gets you any difference because the headphones can barely resolve any detail, so that the spatial effect is really minimal. There is a slight difference between normal songs and the spatial songs, but the effect is just so minimal that it doesn't really justify listening to music this way. It's also really similar with the beats that also just don't have any good resolving detail. Now, beats do have a lot of bass, and these spatial songs also have more bass, but that still doesn't work out here. It's just not worth listening to music this way. Now, with the FIO IEMs, they have pretty good resolving power for $60 IEMs, which is barely hi-fi, I guess. I don't know if you want to really call it hi-fi, but even so, the effect you get with Dolby and Sony, it works. It kind of sounds more open and spacious like an open back headphone, but I just kind of don't really like it. And the reason I don't like it is because I feel like if you have IEMs, you would rather prioritize the more resolving detail you get with hi-fi audio than you do get with this Sony and Dolby spatial effect sound. But even so, like, the effect is still pretty good, and I feel like if you have some okay IEMs, and at least it's worth a try to see if it actually does work with your IEMs, and with mine, it did work. Now, my experience with the Apple AirPods was actually pretty similar with what I got with the FIOs. The only difference being on the AirPods, I got a more convincing spatial effect sound, and that's probably because of optimization or whatever happens with AirPods, right? But yeah, if you have AirPods, I'm guessing that spatial audio will impress you, so I guess it's worth a go. The last device I tested was a Sony XM4, and with both Dolby and Sony, it did sound pretty good. It sounded spacious, it sounded nicely mixed, there was good imaging, and it was even better with Sony 360 Reality Audio because Sony headphones and earbuds can be optimized with the Sony Headphones app so that Sony 360 Reality Audio just sounds better to the shape of your ears and stuff. But out of all the devices I tested, the Sony XM4s was clearly the best one. But second place probably would be the AirPods, but that would be comparing like headphones to earbuds. But even so, I did like the experience I get with the Sony XM4s. So overall, if you have relatively cheap gear, then the effect you get out of Dolby and Sony won't really be there in comparison to the already available regular mixes, even the ones you can find on YouTube. Now, I just want to give my general thoughts on the music I listen to, which is the music I used for my testing, starting with Dolby Atmos music. Ariana Grande's Seven Rings is a pretty good mix with Dolby Atmos, but other than just the bass being more spacious and a little bit more punchy, which I did enjoy, I found the vocals to be somewhat worse because it was kind of distant than the original mix. So it was okay. It was just, I was kind of disappointed with the vocals that did sound spacious, but just distant. Another Ariana Grande song, Break Up With Your Girlfriend. It's a really nice mix. In Dolby Atmos, the bass pretty much sounds the same effect as the previous Ariana Grande song that sounds more spacious. But it's just the vocals. The vocals don't sound as close and as crisp and as clear as the regular mix, which is part of the spatial effect, but I just don't like that the vocals sound slightly out of a line, slightly further back. I'd rather keep the vocals closer like the original mix, but it's still a good mix nonetheless. Next is Homemade Dynamite by Lorde, and I'm actually really mad with this mix because normally Lorde's voice has natural bass, like all our voices has natural bass. But Dolby took away like a quarter of her bass, and I just found that to be bad because normally with Lorde's music, you're supposed to listen to her voice. You're supposed to feel how close her voice is to you, but by taking away that natural bass in her voice and also making her voice quieter and more distant than the Ariana Grande songs I mentioned, it just feels like a bad Dolby experience. I was kind of expecting like, oh, this is a song where I'm gonna feel like I'm at a concert where she sounds like further away from me, but like bassy with her natural voice, and the instruments actually have more bass, but just a little bit. But yeah, I'm going on a tangent with this one. Yeah, it's not good. I'm disappointed with this one. Okay, it's not good. I also tested Love Story, Taylor's version by Taylor Swift, and this one is actually a pretty good Dolby mix, not because it sounds spacious, but because the song benefits from having the spacious sound come from all over you, because the song is actually pretty cluttered, but with like Dolby Atmos, it removes that clutteredness, and now you can hear, oh, like the violin is playing from this direction and the guitar is playing from this direction, and it sounds really nice. But it's it could be better, but it's not bad because at least it does remove the clutteredness. It even benefited the JBL headphones and the Beats headphones, which don't have resolving details. So I consider this one to be a win. Just, yeah, it still could be better. The last song I tested with Dolby Atmos music is Scream and Shout by will.i.am and Britney Spears. And this is the best Dolby song I tested out of the other songs I tested with Dolby, mostly because of how actually good spacious sound it has. So the way I think of it is the sound sounds like it's coming from an indoor environment, so like a club. So in a club, there's like loudspeakers that are like distant from you. But this song doesn't have like a reverb effect that a club environment naturally gives you. So it doesn't sound like overly boomy and echoey, but it does sound really spacious and distant, which is really nice. And it has really good imaging too. So yeah, if you have Dolby Atmos music, Scream and Shout, I'd say try it. It's pretty cool. The next songs are from Sony 360 Reality Audio, with the first song being Holiday by Lil Nas X. Now, this song is good or bad from how you want to perceive it. So the reason it could be good or bad is because it's really bright. It's really forward with the vocals that you simply cannot miss, because on like the Ariana Grande Dolby mixes, like the vocals are like here. They're somewhat distant. But with Holiday, it's actually really close. Like it's really bright, it's really forward. You might like that, you might not like that. I didn't have a problem with it. I actually think the forward vocals really helped with this song. But yeah, I think it's a good mix, but others might not think so. The next song is Run It by Chris Brown. And I have a really big problem with this Sony mix. First of all, in the intro, you hear this voice, and this voice pans a lot left to right ear. It pans too fast that it's fatiguing. And this is the one song out of all the songs I tested that reminds me of what a true 8D music audio song you can find on YouTube. Like, if this is like 8D or not 8D, no, this is 8D. This is like a real 8D experience, but just bad. Like the song doesn't sound clear. Chris Brown's vocals, like it sounds kind of distant. It's a really bad mix. I have no idea why it's like this, but it's just bad. I don't know. The song was released in 2005. I don't think that has an influence with how the Sony mix should perform, but it's just bad. I don't like it. Another bad song that sounds really similar to everything I just explained with Run It, Buy You a Drink by T-Pain. It doesn't have panning. That's not the problem. The problem is everything is way too far. Like if I said the Ariana Grande songs was like the vocals was distant, no, this is way too far. It's not good. It's just not good. The song was released in 2007. That shouldn't influence the song being mixed with Sony 360 Reality Audio, but this is worse than Run It by Chris Brown. I really don't know. It's a really bad mix. We also have Roses by the Chainsmokers, which came out in 2015. I really don't know. This one's bad too. The vocals, the main problem I have is with the vocals. You hear the female vocal artist in your left ear, right? But that's the majority of where you're hearing. It's like right here. But then you have this really weird vocal that I've never heard before in this song, but it is in the song because I checked with the original mix. You have this other vocal that's like right here on the bottom right. And it's a really weird imbalance, and it's not good. I really don't know. Like, the bass is actually worse with this song. The vocals is bad. It sounds distant. It's not a good mix. It's just not a good mix. I'm really disappointed with this one. Last Sony 360 reality audio song I tested is So Fresh, So Clean by Outkast. And my God, this one's actually good. This one's really good. So to start off, the song sounds really spacious. It's super spacious. It's like Scream and Shout with Dolby. It's really good. In the intro, you hear these drums, and these drums, they sound like they're actually in the room with you. It's a really good spacious effect. The imaging is just as good with Scream and Shout. You can hear vocals, instruments. It's really good. It's really spacious. It's really bassy. The vocals are forward, like Holiday. Not as forward, but still a little bit forward. That's really good. It's not too much of a bright song. Kind of is, but this one's really good. It's probably even a tie with Scream and Shout. I really like this song with Sony 360. So what have we learned about Dolby Atmos music and Sony 360 reality audio? Well, it really does depend on your audio equipment and the mixes of the song. So with your audio equipment, the better your audio equipment is, like your headphones, the more convincing effect you will get with spatial sound and imaging. You don't need like $500 headphones in order for you to get a good spatial audio experience, but your headphones kind of need to be resolving enough so that this effect can work to some extent. So basically, the resolving detail you get with your own headphones needs to be resolving enough in order for you to justify paying for Dolby Atmos music and Sony 360 reality audio. So for example, if you have Apple Music, which is about $10 a month, you not only get access to Dolby Atmos music, but you also get access to hi-fi tier lossless audio. At that point, it is up to you to evaluate if spatial sound is right for you and for your gear, because if you have something like hi-fi audio with Apple Music, but you're using like the Apple AirPods, well, the AirPods aren't really going to benefit from lossless audio because they don't have an audio codec to pass through like 500 kilobytes per second of audio. So then it just doesn't work on Apple AirPods as an example. And second, make sure that you like the mixes of spatial audio because they will be different than the original mixes that you're already used to. Remember that you're listening to the spatial sound mix of a song, so that mix could be better or worse than the original, and it's gonna change the way you perceive the song to be heard, whether it is better or it is worse. I have another quick video recommendation, this time on Dolby Atmos music. Go watch DMS's video on this because he's gonna give you his own perspective about spatial audio that will be different than my perspective, and it's just probably is gonna give you more insight to add on to what I already explained here. Also, if I go to YouTube and just search up like homemade Dynamite 8D, there will be multiple videos about this from multiple different people making this. So some videos on 8D audio will sound better than other existing ones, but that's just up to you to decide what works best for you. But as far as how Dolby and Sony are giving you these spatial song mixes, it reminds me of 8D audio, but it's quite not there as traditional 8D audio. It doesn't sound like 8D audio because 8D audio has a lot of panning and reverb and echoing, which these songs don't have. The only song that sounded like a competitor to 8D audio, or at least in line with 8D audio, was just Run It, but it was still different enough for me to consider it not as 8D audio. If 8D audio is a gimmick, then Dolby and Sony 360 is a competent gimmick just because these mixes actually do sound spacious. I would like 8D more than Dolby and Sony 360 if 8D was just about having the concert hall or auditorium effect that it makes it give that reverb and that echo, but I don't like 8D because of the panning. The panning is just way too distracting. It's way too fatiguing. If it was more like the concert hall effect you get with like the Realtek audio console, then yeah, I would like 8D audio because I think this concert hall effect, it sounds really convincing with hi-fi tier audio, and I would like that with 8D audio. If you want to listen to a virtual concert effect, then I think Realtek audio console is simple and it's straightforward and it works the way I want it to work. But also there's equalizer APO and piece equalizer, which would require manual tweaking for delay and reverb, which I unfortunately do not know how to do. If you like 8D audio, then cool. If you like Dolby and Sony 360, then that's also cool. But I still find it strange that there is a market for this given Dolby and Sony 360 will basically sell you spatial audio. But it still makes sense to me. If you don't have a good open back headphone that naturally gives you that spatial effect, then it makes sense to listen to 8D audio and spatial sound mixes that basically do give you that immersion. And if you already have Apple Music, then that's awesome because Dolby Atmos music and the spatial sounds is given to you for no extra cost. Well, I just needed to point all of this out because I want people to know that open back headphones can give you a better natural surround soundstage than 8D audio, and that hi-fi audio exists as an upgrade to like standard Spotify quality, and that you can combine hi-fi audio and your open back headphones and maybe even like the concert hall filter effect that you get with Realtek audio console. You can combine all of these together for like a true immersive experience if that's what you're looking for. There's more to an immersive music experience than just 8D audio, so just be aware about that. Also, you can check online to see if there's any audio stores near you where they sell headphones, but more specifically, where they have a headphone shelf where you get to try out the headphones before you actually buy it in store. And this way, if you're questionable about open back headphones or just maybe can't afford to upgrade your headphones, then this is a good place to at least try to see if you do like this immersion, if you do like the headphones, if you do like the tuning. Basically, you're seeing if this is right for you. To end this video off, if you like 8D audio, completely fine. If you like the Dolby and Sony music mixes, still completely fine. But I just want people to know what their options are so that they can get a better, personalized, and immersive listening experience. If you enjoyed this review, then please give me a like. And if you didn't like what you see, then I don't know, go enjoy however you wish to enjoy listening to your music. But if you did like what you see, please like, comment, and subscribe. And for being my first video about hi-fi audio, I think this went pretty well because I wish to cover hi-fi audio and learn about it more so that I could share it with you. Also because I feel like a lot of people watching this video probably listen to 8D audio normally. Maybe give me a comment down below. Tell me why you like 8D audio, and if you close your eyes and imagine, you know, all the stuff, all your experiences about 8D audio, what you feel, what you like, what you don't like. And yeah, I really would like to learn more about what people like about 8D audio. And I also want to ask you, to those who like 8D audio, if you had open back headphones, would you switch back to normally mixed music, whether that's just hi-fi or just standard tier music? I really want to know. I really want to know if you listening or stop listening to AP Audio is just having an open back headphone. Just saying. And yeah, I think this video went pretty well, so I guess I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.